comprehensive examination, maraming nag-retake kasi hindi sila marunong sumagot ng mga easy questions. Kaya this is the time for you to practice not only for this course but also for your comprehensive examination. Hello, Fidel. How are you?
Afternoon po. I'm fine naman po.
Good. Kasi ang policy ngayon pwede kang mag-retake hanggang may pasa mo. So nakakalungkot na yung iba, may mga nag-retake. So, be more conscious in answering the questions na ganon. Hello, Janice. How are you?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon.
Okay lang po, sir.
Good. Wala pang COVID.
Hindi, wala po. Awa ng Diyos po.
Yan ang constant prayer ko na dapat meron tayong divine protection. Kasi COVID is something we cannot see.
Kaya nga, sir.
ID, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yung mga ibang problema, alam natin yung kalaban natin. Pwede nating remedyuhan. Pero ang COVID hindi natin nakikita. So ang pag-asa lang natin talaga is of course, we do yung mga health protocols, social distancing, wearing a face mask, face shield, and constant washing of your hands. You should do those precautionary measures. Even if we do that, siyempre, hindi nga natin nakikita yung kalaban So we really need God as divine protection on all of these dangers. Not only on us, but also our families. Kasi mukhang tatagal pa ito Baka 1 year pa, or even more. Hello, Melissa and Salvador, how are you?
Sir.
Good.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay, meron na tayong 16. At least, marami-rami na tayo. So, we start the formal session with a prayer. Can we ask Heidi to lead us in a prayer? Heidi.
Hello, sir.
Heidi Laureano, can you lead us in a prayer?
Okay po, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
Hello,
let's go ahead
Noraima.
and let us pray. Lord, sana po bigyan niyo po kami ng knowledge and wisdom ngayong hapon na ito upang maintindihan po namin lahat ng itatakal ng aming prof. Walang iba kundi po si And sana rin po, Lord, bigyan niyo po kami ng pangunawa upang mas lalo po namin maintindihan lahat ng kanyang sasabihin. And ingatan niyo po kami lahat sa lahat ng mga problemang dumarating sa atin. Yun lamang po ang aming dinadalangin sa pangalan ni Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Okay. So, I have received most of your papers already. The others are still on the way. So, medyo hindi ko pa nakikita na in detail what you have submitted. Tanong ngayon, how did you find the exam? Can you have comments on the exam? Yes, Hazel, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you comment on the exam, Hazel? Hazel,
Yes, sir. Good afternoon po.
good afternoon. How did you find the exam? Can you comment on it?
Ano, sir? Mahirap.
Mahirap. Mahirap ba talaga?
Medyo, sir, lalo na yung number 3. Yung, ano yun?
Alam nyo, this is a training for you, not only in this class, but also in preparation for your comprehensive examination. Annalyn, good afternoon. Kasi
Good afternoon po, sir.
nakakalungkot na yung reset na comprehensive examination, marami sa kanila ang nag-retake. Alam naman ninyo, every time na you retake, na totoo, pwedeng mag-retake. The thing is, sayang ang time doon, sayang ang pera, sayang ang pagod. Kaya, you be patient and you be conscientious in your answering the questions, the style of questions that are given to you in this subject. That's it's part of your training. Una-una, I'll be telling you na you should read the items carefully so that you know what is required. Halimbawa, dun sa tignan nga natin yung sabi ni Hazel na number 3. Hello, Amy. Good afternoon. Okay, yung sabi ni Hazel. Tama ba yun, Hazel? Number 3, yung na mahirap ka mo.
Yes, sir.
Sabi niya, compare and contrast the percentage of the gross domestic product budgeted for basic education in the highly developed first world countries with the percentage of, hello, Jeneline, with the percentage of GDP allocated for basic education in the third world developing countries. Explain the effects of this obvious disparity on the rate of development of these countries. Use at least 250 words in your discussion. Okay? Unang-una, if you read the item, read the question itself, there are specific keywords na medyo baka hindi nyo mag-grasp yung meaning. Tingnan nyo yung meaning. Ano yung meaning? Ano yung gross domestic product? Dapat alam din nyo yun. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kasi nabasa na naman natin doon sa word data noon, yung first sessions natin sa klase na ito, yung mga data na yun. And it mentions about gross domestic products. Budgeted for basic education in highly developed third world nations. You should understand that the third world nations are composed of the well-developed countries like the US, Germany, France, Western nations na progressive. And then sabi niya, compare and contrast. So, ibig sabihin, before you compare, you should be able to have a good idea of what is budgeted. Ilang percentage ba ang binabudget nila? Okay? How much percentage is allocated for basic education in the US, in Switzerland, in France, in Germany, for example, in the UK? How much? Okay? And then, dahil you are comparing, you should know also the percentage that is allocated by a number of developing nations like the Philippines, like, for example, Honduras, uh, Nicaragua, mga ganun, mga developing countries. So, kung alam mo na yung percentage na binabudget nila sa basic education, makita mo agad-agad ang comparison. You will know that the first world countries are budgeting more percentage than those that are budgeted in the third world countries, di ba? Sa atin yata something like 10% lang. Like, around 10% lang yung 10% to something like 15% yung sa atin. So makikita mo that the developed nations in the first world have budgeted more percentage in there. And considering na yung gross domestic product nila is napakalaki, tapos malaki pang percentage ang ibinabudget nila sa basic education, ibig sabihin napakalaki yung budget nila doon. Totoo, sa atin malaki. It gets the biggest percentage in the allocation as far as the national budget is concerned. But the thing is, compared to the first world countries, yung ating malaking budget, kulang pa rin sa katiting yung kung i-compare mo sa kanila. Di ba? In other words, you will see that the budget percentage of the gross domestic product in the first world countries is much more than what is budgeted in the third world countries. Di na i-compare mo na, unang-una, tignan mo yung average na what is budgeted. And then, with that, makita mo yung average na gross domestic product ng Western countries, first world countries. Tapos masasabi mo that they budget more than those in developing countries like the Philippines, Honduras, Nicaragua, and others. Okay. Now that you have known that the developing countries are budgeting less for basic education than the what is budgeted in the first world countries. Anong effect nun? Kasi yun ang last part ng kan eh. Explain the effects of this obvious disparity. There's a big difference between the two. At on the rate of development in these countries. You know that first world countries like the US, very fast yung kanilang development. Why? So much has been budgeted for their education. Sa atin, we put also to be a huge value on education, but yung budgeted amount for education is still less than those that are budgeted in the first world countries. Diba? So the fact is very obvious also. That's why the first world countries, the more progressive countries are developing by leaps and bounds. Even in the production of COVID vaccine, sila ang nangunguna. Marami silang scientists, marami silang laboratories, marami silang mga facilities to manufacture such things. Saan na manufacture yung mga cellphones natin? Nasa developed countries, di ba? Mga first world countries. Sino yung mga users? Tayo. We don't manufacture. We are users. We are the buyers. Di ba? Minsan yung junk, yun ang pinupunta nila sa atin. Yung luma na, yun ang binibigay nila sa atin. Di ba? So you see the difference? The disparity, the obvious disparity in the budgeting for basic education is seen in the progress of the nation. The development of the nation is proportional to the budget that is given to basic education. And when the basic education of the people, of the citizens, are taken care of, mas malamang naman na maraming pupunta sa higher education. Saka postgraduate education, di ba? Sa atin, marami, di ba? Yung approximate na percentage na nakakarating ng kolehiyo is only 10% of those who started in grade 1. Pero mo yun, 100% na nag-start sa grade 1 level, kindergarten level, 100%. Pagdating nila sa collegiate level, only 10%. Less than 10% pala na nakakarating doon. Kasi, yun na. Unang-una, they are not ready. Pangalawa, of course, poverty is also a factor there. But the most important factor there as far as the educational level is kulang sa budget sa elementary level pa lang, basic education, elementary at saka high school. Malamang, pagka nag-entrance examination sila sa higher education, babagsak yun. Diba? So, malamang na yung kung mataas yung budget para basic education, the product also who are the graduates in the basic education are more prepared to go into higher education. And therefore, there is really a big difference between the two classifications of countries. As far as the budgeting, percentage budget for from the gross domestic product for basic education. Diba? Kitang-kita naman eh. Ngayon, yung discussion natin noon doon sa world data noon, hindi natin masyadong nabigyan ng detalye yung parte na yun. Dahil yung exam naman is take home, you are free to search muna bago kayo mag-answer, di ba? So, yan ang mga technique na dapat ninyong gawin. Ngayon, dahil ganyan yung style ng comprehensive examination, you should be prepared also to know the basic concepts and theories that you are learning now. At least alam ninyo. Paano ninyo malalaman? When do you know that you really understood the lesson? For example, yung discussion natin sa yung discussion natin na una about the budgeting. Yung budgeting process. How do you know that you know that? In other words, how do you know that you know? Sige nga. Salvador, can we hear from you, please?
Yes, sir.
How do you know the subject matter that we are talking about?
Ah, pwede nating ibis.
Sigurado ka na alam mo. How do you know that?
Pwede nating i-base doon sa mga experience natin, sir, kung yun ay nagagawa na natin doon sa, halimbawa sa school. Pwede nating i-apply doon sa exam. Tsaka yung mga stock knowledge natin, pwede rin nating magamit, sir.
Okay, I think you need to how when I say that you need to reconsider your answer kasi ang tanong is how do you know that you know that we have discussed. Kung in other words, wala pa tayo dun sa application. Katatapos lang natin na discuss halimbawa, how do you know that you know what is being talk about? Nga, paano mo malalaman na alam mo nga talaga yung napag-usapan na pala? Sige nga. Can we ask Ann Bertel, please?
Sir, kung alam mo, miss, kung sa pagdating sa question, ay kaya mong sagutin directly po yung question. At kahit saan umikot-ikot ay hindi ka mawawala kung ano po yung topic na pinag-uusapan.
Kung mayroong exam na,
Yes, sir.
pero wala pang exam, how do you know that you know?
If I have the ability to answer po, or nakaka-relate po ako mismo dun sa pinag-uusapan, sir. At I could
Okay.
share my ideas with regards to that.
Okay, that you can share ideas with others. Ariel Bambalan, can we hear from you? Ariel.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon po. Yes, sir.
How do you know that we know?
Ayun po.
That you know
Siguro,
what
sir,
we
ano
have
po.
discussed?
Sir, based on what you have read before, so therefore, dapat siguro you have to do some further reading.
Mhm. Okay, let's say na you have done the further reading already. You have discussed it already in class. Tapos, you did further reading already. So, how do you know that you know? Can we hear from Ray, please? Ray Adalem?
Hello po, good afternoon.
Yes, Ray. Yes, good afternoon.
Sa tingin ko po,
How do you know that you know?
sa dulo po ng each lesson naman po may evaluation part po.
Okay, yun, may test na. Saka mo
Opo.
lang malaman. Pero bago mag-test, how do you know that you really know?
Siguro iba-iba pong method ng comprehension check po, recitation.
How, for example?
Question po si bata tungkol dun sa subject matter po, si student.
It is personal, you yourself actually. How do you know, for example, that you know the Philippine budget process? How do you know that after our discussion, you really know what it is all about?
Siguro agree naman po ako sa suggest po ng classmates ko po na kung alam niyo nga po, may sasagot niyo po yung
Katanungan.
yes po.
Pero self-evaluation ito, wala pang tanong ng professor, wala pang tanong ng iba. But you know already that you know. Can we hear from you, Hazel? Esil, can we hear from you? No, wala si Hazel. Nagmerienda yata. Ay, meron na. Hazel, how do you know that you know?
Sir, paulit po yung question. Nawawala po yung signal.
After we have discussed a topic, for example, after class, and then you search the internet for more information. Now, self-evaluation. How do you know that you really know the topic?
Siguro, sir, if I can summarize and kung ma-summarize ko, sir, and then pwede kong masagot yung mga questions.
Wala pa nga ang question.
Wala pa.
Self-evaluation pa. Self-evaluation lang.
Yan, sir, kung ma-summarize ko po yung topic.
Okay, that's one. You are able to summarize the topic. How else? Olive, can we hear from you?
Hello sir, good afternoon po.
Yes.
Sir, siguro through self-evaluation po.
Self-evaluation nga, how do you know that
Ay,
you know?
self-assessment po.
Yeah, self-assessment. But how do you
Yun
assess
nga
it?
po. Sir,
How do you know? Paano mo malaman na alam mo nga talaga yung napag-usapan na?
Sir, kagaya nga po ng sinabi ni Ma'am Myrtle po kanina na if ever nasagot mo po yung mga questions, then for sure naman po naiintindihan mo yung question.
Wala pa nga ang question eh. Wala pang exam.
Yung topic, sir.
Self-evaluation lang. Sabi ni Hazel, if you can summarize the topic that we have talked about. Ikaw naman, anong sagot mo doon?
Sir, siguro kung kaya mong i-apply sa real life
Kaya mong
situation
i-apply.
po. Application po, yes sir.
Pero wala pang application. Ano mo malaman na kaya mong i-apply? Noraima, are you there? Can we
Yes.
hear from you?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon.
You will know that you know a certain topic when you do a self-evaluation. And when we speak of self-evaluation, that's a self-realization that what has been discussed actually applied to you. Or you can relate to what has been discussed. You are having a self-realization na, ito pala yung ginagawa ko na.
Okay.
Ito pala yun.
You can summarize it and then you can relate to it. That's self-realization. Okay. Okay, those are things that you can do.
Yes.
Self-evaluation yun.
Sir, when you connect to it, sir, say for example, you will realize something about you. Na, halimbawa, kagaya nun sir, yung budgeting process, parang marirealize mo na, ito na pala yung ginagawa ko personally, and ito na pala yung ginagawa ko in the school, something like that.
Self-realization.
Wrong and,
Any other thing? Can you add to that? Emiliano, can you add to that? Yes, Jonathan, you will be next. Emiliano.
Yes, sir. Maybe you can know that you know the topic if by nature you know the concept or how to apply yung concept in real life, sir.
Oh, okay.
And
Application, if you can apply. Pero kung hindi mo pa na-apply, how do you know that you know? How can you be confident that you really know?
you know the topic, sir, because first you have experienced it basically through your five senses. Maybe.
Okay.
Second is because you have thought your way thought it and argued it or rationalize it. Maybe lang po.
Okay, Jonathan, we hear from you. Thank you very much, Emiliano.
Hello, sir.
Thank
Good
you,
afternoon.
Noraima. Yung sagot.
Yes, sir.
Jonathan, can we hear from you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me, please, sir?
Yes.
In my part, sir, when you first told me na about budget process, I have not recited yet because I don't know yet the subject. But upon thorough reading, I realized that I know the topic if I familiarize with the concepts are included in that subject.
You are familiar with it. You can relate to it. You can summarize
Yes,
it.
sir.
Ano pa?
Yes, sir, because at first I didn't know what is budget process. I don't know also what is budget preparation, budget legislation, budget implementation, budget accountability. Those I'm not so much familiar with those, sir. That's why when I read the subject, the topic, I understand, ito pala yung budget preparation, ganito pala ang ginagawa. So dapat pala mag-ready ito ng mga budget proposals
Okay.
nila. And then here comes the budget.
You can relate to the topic. You can relate to the process. Just like what Noraima was saying, he realized na mayroong self-realization.
Yes, sir.
Ayun pala, ako na pala yun. Ganun. Guys, you can relate
Yes, sir.
to it. You're familiar with
And
the
you're familiar also
terminology.
with the
Ano pa? ID, thank you very much, Jonathan.
Thank you, sir.
Information.
Hi, hello sir. Good
AD?
afternoon po.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, good afternoon.
Can we summarize? You know that you know. You know that you know if you know with confidence that you can apply. You know that you know if you can relate to the process because you have had some process regarding it. Okay. Anything else that you can add?
Sir, parang wala. Nasabi na yata nila lahat.
Meron bang ganun? Wala, ni isa?
Parang nabanggit naman na nila, sir. Parang in self-assessment.
Okay, how about Janice?
Yes, sir. Sige.
How about Janice? Anyway, thank you, Eddie, for being honest.
Hello, sir.
Janice.
Hello, sir.
Wala
Yes,
na rin.
sir. Hello po. Naririnig
Okay,
po ako, sir.
listen up, everybody. Okay, listen up, everybody. I'll tell you
Sir.
I will tell you how you can tell that you know, really know that you know. Okay? This is how you can do
Yes,
it.
sir.
You can teach others about it. You can teach it with clarity to others. And you can explain everything, the concept, the other things that are related to it. You already, and that is what you call active review. Yeah, you get it? So that will give you a hint, a tip for reviewing. Look at the topic. If you can explain it with confidence to somebody, can teach others about the concept, about its application, and how you can relate your activities to it. Explain that to others, then you know that you really know. Diba? Parang yung teacher, Teacher, if you are explaining, for example, a grammatical structure, a certain grammatical structure, like yung mga syntax ng organization of a composition, you do not know until you are able to teach it clearly to your student. Okay? In mathematics, for example, you're teaching a question. You do not know if you cannot explain it. Di ba? You only know that you know when you can explain it to others. You can teach others about the concept. Okay na? Kuha ninyo?
Yes, sir. Thank you po.
Kuha ninyo? So yan, so that is giving you a tip on how to answer and review for a certain test. Before you answer the test item, you read it, what is required, and so on, and then you first explain it to somebody else before you answer the question formally. And if you can explain it to somebody. If you do not like to explain it to somebody, you face the mirror, explain it to yourself. Di ba? Ang galing. Ang galing na pag-review yon. Explain it to yourself. Ganito yan eh. Oh. Then tanungin mo rin yung sarili mo. Mag-dialogue kayo dun sa mirror. Di ba? Pero ingatan nyo pagka ganyan. Wag na inyong hayaan na makita kayo ng asawa nyo kung mayroong kayong asawa. O nanay nyo kung nandiyan ang nanay nyo. Kasi kung makita kayo ng nanay nyo, ng asawa nyo na ganyan, nag-i-explain sa salamin, baka hahabulin ako ng itak. Itong asawa ko, ilang araw, ilang oras lang kay Dr. Memban, baliw na. Di ba? Yan lang, ingatan lang ninyo pag gano'n, nagpa-practice kayo doon sa mirror. Kita kayo ng iba. Okay. Anyway, joking aside. Joking aside. Isa pa, mayroon yung question na use at least 250 words in your discussion. Sabing ganon. You should fulfill that also. How do you do it? You count the number of words in the first three lines. Okay? Halimbawa, ang average nun is the total number of those 3 lines. Sabihin natin is 30 divided by 3 lines is 10. On the average, tig-10 yung lines. Tig-10 words yung isang line, di ba? 250 ang required. O dapat meron kang 25 lines. Tama ba?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Di ba?
Ganon din yung ginawa ko, sir eh.
Yeah.
Ganon
1,
yung
2, 3,
ginawa ko.
4, 5.
Yes, sir.
Average 10 words per line. Dapat meron kang, at least, meron kang 25 lines. Para ma-fulfill mo yung requirement na at least 250 words. Di ba?
Yes,
Of course, pagka ganun yung mo, hindi mo na kailangan bilangin lahat eh. Estimate lang. More or less.
But if they want to become more accurate, sir, they can just copy and paste it to another document, separate document for them to be able to count the exact number of words.
Well,
that can be done.
Well, that is another technique, pero ang pinakamadali,
kunin yung average.
Average lang. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bilangin mo lang kung ilang lines nang naisulat mo. Okay? Those are some tips that for answering questions like this. Kasi nga, I am also training you to be able to hurdle yung comprehensive examination ninyo later on. Well, it is still far off, pero alam nyo, ang bilis ng panahon. Gaya ngayon, tapos na ang April. Mayo na tayo. Malapit na tayong matapos na naman ang first week ng May. Di ba? Tapos na pala. Almost finished na. Anyway, setting that aside, we go to yung last topic natin is the Philippine budget process. Ngayon, we will connect it with our next topic, which is the school-based management. And we have identified which part of school-based management can we integrate yung budget. Ano na ang parte yan? What is the part wherein we can integrate budgeting?
Management of resources.
Management of resources. Okay? When you manage the resources, what are the basic things that you should know in order to be able to manage your resources? In other words, what are the processes that you should know in order to be able to effectively manage that aspect of the school-based management? Anybody? Yung mga basic steps lang. And we go back to you, Ray. Ray, Jonathan, Adalam. Ray, please. What are the basic steps by which we can do management of school resources effectively? Ano na first step?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes. Anything, Jonathan?
Yes, sir. Sir, from experience, that what we do is to identify first our priorities in the school. So what are the programs?
How do you do that? How do you do that, Jonathan?
Ayun po, sir. Based on, naka-angkla po dapat po sa SIP po namin, sir. So una po, dapat may mga programs po kami na naka-detalye sa aming school improvement plan. And from that programs and projects po, makikita po namin yung kailangan na expenses o resources na kailangan po namin doon. And then pag nalaman po namin kung ilan po at magkano ang kailangan na magastos o magagamit po doon, that is the time that we will conduct planning. Okay, so pag
Yes, what is the prerequisite of planning?
Yes, sir.
What is the prerequisite of planning? What is the step that goes before planning?
Identifying the priority.
How do you identify?
Actually po, sir, ayun naman po, sir, Kwan. Kumbaga, pino-convene po namin lahat ng mga teachers, ng mga kasama po sa school. And then...
What is the term? What is the term you use for that?
Ano ang tawag natin doon?
Situation analysis.
Situational analysis. Situational analysis. What are the different ways by which you can do situational analysis? Eddie?
Yes, hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, we can employ either the SWOT or the SPOT.
Okay. Of course, there is also a process which we call situational analysis.
Yes, sir.
Wherein you analyze also the conditions there. More specific is the SWOT or the SPOT. The SPOT is more modern. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, situational analysis muna bago planning. All right. After the planning, ano yung mga processes sa planning? See, if you really know what you're talking about, you can explain it to us. Diba? So dun sa planning, before planning, you need the situational analysis. And you can use the environmental scanning processes like SWOT or SPOT. In the planning itself, You should know your resources, your projects. Your resources is what is no existing budget. No? And your goal. Importante yung goal or your objective. Alright, that is and then, a part of the planning is the activities that you will be undertaking. So you know your goal, you know your resources, you know your projects or your projected activities, and the activities itself that will be undertaken in that. Okay? After planning, what do you do? Especially in the public school, you need approval from your head. From halimbawa, if you're a principal, you have to get an approval from your district supervisor if you're in the elementary. If you are in the secondary level, you seek approval from the division office. After the approval, by the way, why do you need approval? Bakit kailangan ng approval? Fidel, can we hear from you, please?
Good afternoon. Perhaps I believe that that needs approval for it to be made sure that it is in aligned or it is in accordance to what to the trusts of the department, sir. Like we really have to make sure that what is being planned or what is to be implemented are all in accordance or in support to the national trust of the DepEd, something like that, sir.
Yeah, the overall goal of the department
Yes.
or of the division. Ano?
Yes, sir.
Another, why do you need an approval?
Sir, ako pa rin. Okay. Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah, aside from that, I believe that if we seek
Jeneline, you
approval
will be
from,
next.
yeah,
Jeneline, you
if
will
we
be next. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Fidel.
yes, sir. If we seek approval, we are also trying to seek some help or some suggestions coming from the higher authorities who know better with regards to how such programs or how such projects have to be implemented in the school level.
Mhm.
So yeah, we are not
Yeah.
only seeking approval, but in the same way, we are seeking or getting some advice or further instructions as to how we can better implement or better accomplish those plans for our school.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Assuming that they know. But
Yes, sir.
most people in the higher levels do not know.
That's the problem.
So why
I hope not.
still need the approval? Annalyn, you are next. Annalyn. Annalyn,
Yes,
why do
sir.
you
Good
need
afternoon
approval?
po.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We need the approval sa upper ano po natin para legal po yung ating papers. Hindi basta-basta ma-stop or mapigilan po, sir. Ganun. May mga legal documents po
Okay.
tayo.
Just to make sure that it is legal within the bounds of your authority to do. That to make sure that is covered under the overall goal of the department or of the division. What else?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Naraima?
Sir, I believe we seek approval from them to let them know it's one way of informing them of the programs and activities that are to be implemented in the school, and also to seek their technical assistance on that matter.
Yes, exactly. To inform them that you are doing something. Hindi ka nag-seek ng approval, they do not know that you are doing something. Okay? For example, a research and you did not seek approval from your higher level officers, they don't know that you are doing that. So for your the benefit of that is they know that you are doing something, that when the time comes that there is promotion, they know that you really did something. Hindi sila magdududa na ano yan, research na yan, kinopia mo lang yata sa kung saan sana. Sabihin na gano'n, dahil you seek approval from them. Okay? So tatlong bagay. Unang-una, you are sure that the project is in support to the overall objective of the division or of the department. Number two is to make sure that your activity, your project is legal. And number three, which is the most important, is you are informing your boss, your higher officers, that you are doing something. Okay? All right, so you have your situational analysis, you have your planning, you have your approval. After the approval, what? What's the next step?
Execution po, sir.
All right, execution or implementation.
Implementation.
All right, implementation. And then while you are implementing, what is happening? What is the step that you should do simultaneously with the implementation? This is done during the time when it is being implemented and after the project is finished. What is that step?
Monitoring po.
Monitoring, or another term for monitoring?
Evaluation.
Evaluation, yes. You have your evaluation while the project is going on. What do you call that? It is the what?
Implementation.
Formative evaluation while it is going on, di ba? If it is a lesson, it is formative evaluation. When it is a project, it is monitoring. Okay? And then, after the project has been finished, what happens? May I hear from you? And
Yes, sir. After po ng evaluation, sir,
after the project has been finished,
I will go for evaluation, sir.
what kind of evaluation will that be?
If this project, it's monitoring evaluation.
Mm-hmm. Summative evaluation, pagka lesson yun, ano?
Yes, sir.
Pagka project, ano yun?
Sir, sa hello, sir.
Ha? Come again?
Ako po, sir. Ma'am Nori
Yes,
po ako.
Nori.
Sir, after the project has been implemented, we do feedbacking if the program or the project is successful or not. And then we do reporting. Magkakaroon po kasi ng exit report po yon sa mga kinauukulan about the implementation of the project. Kung naging successful po ba siya or not. And then kapag hindi po naging successful, yun titingnan po yung mga factors that hinder the success of the program.
Okay. The most important kasi ang topic natin, the overall subject natin ngayon, this semester, is financing, di ba? So the most important step there is accounting of your finances.
Okay po, sir.
Of course, mayroong yung sinasabi yung feedback, okay yun. But yung most important part of the feedback system and the reporting is the accounting. final step, accounting, then reporting, and then probably in the reporting you analyze what really happened. Ngayon, we go back to your monitoring aspect. What possible decisions can you make as a result of your monitoring? Management decisions, huh? Yeah, the project is going on. Okay? Project is going on. And you are monitoring possible management decisions can you make during that monitoring process? What are the possible things that can happen while you are implementing the project? Anyone? Eddie, can we hear from you? Meron pa tayong hindi na papakinggan ha. Si Milicia and then Jesse. Jesse, you will be next. After Eddie.
Yes, sir.
Three possible things that can happen while you are monitoring the project. And what are the management decisions that you can apply?
Sir, if ever maybe na short sa resources.
Come again?
Parang sir dun sa maybe on the procurement of the things that we need. Parang siguro
Yes.
sir along the way maybe short of the budget, parang sa resources sir. But there are instances that there are emergency expenditure sir along the.
So where is that?
Sir, doon sa during the implementation sir siguro po kung sakali na meron emergency, priority po natin yun kung sakali po kasi parang it's urgent and important. Parang
Okay.
ganun.
Any idea, Mr. Prestosa? Ray Prestosa, please.
Hello, sir. At medyo na stable ito. Kanina pa ako pumapasok. Itong internet ko, sir.
Anyway, ang pinag-uusapan is, while we are implementing the project, what three possible things can happen? Management decisions that can be made. Melissa, Campus, you will be next. Isipin mo muna, Ray.
Yes, sir.
Melissa,
Yes, sir.
Campus. Tapos Ruby will be next. Melissa, are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Ano yung three possible things that can happen during the monitoring of the implementation and monitoring of the project? What are the three possible things that can happen and what management decisions can be made in connection with these possibilities? Okay, isipin mo muna. Ruby, you're next. And then Jesse.
Good afternoon po, sir.
Yes.
Sir, siguro magkakaroon po ng review sa mga mga ginamit po na steps, sir, para makita po yung evaluation and monitoring po, sir.
Nasa monitoring na tayo. We are in the implementation. Mino-monitor natin yung implementation. We are thinking of 3 possible things that can happen. The management decisions that can function with these possibilities. Jesse Fernandez, please. Then going back to Ray Prestosa. After Ray Prestosa, si Olive. Wala. Hindi nyo maisip. Jesse, can we hear from you?
Yes, sir po. Sir, check po muna first, for example, yung inventory po. Pag halimbawa more on procurement po ng equipment, kung tama po ba yung mga binili, tama po ba yung mga prices na inalat po dun sa project po na yon.
Okay, that's part of the monitoring. Part of the monitoring. But what possible things can happen during the implementation?
Siguro po, sir, first is halimbawa po magkakaroon ng failure po dun sa halimbawa sa equipment po na ginagamit po or binili po, pinocure po.
Okay, failure 'yon. Anong management decision pagka failure? Management decision, management decision.
Management.
Kung may halimbawa may procurement, failure yung procurement, what happens? What is the decision?
So, I think, sir, ano po, magkakaroon po ulit ng, halimbawa, nagkaroon po ng failure, so going back to review po ulit, i-review po ulit na yung proseso na dinaanan po para to correct po.
Okay, you change the procedure doon. You change the procedure. So, yung failure na yon, nakita mo, there's something wrong about it. So, you change the procedure kasi failure eh.
Yes po.
So, you change the procedure. Doon pa lang sa monitoring, makakokorek mo na. Kasi you're changing the procedure.
Yes, sir.
The management decision, therefore, is changing the procedure.
Changing the procedure.
Or changing and correcting what is an error in that procedure. Okay, what are the other 2?
Sa amin, sir, sa programming po is debugging po to correct the error na po kaagad. Kasi habang ginagamit po yung system, so problems arises, yung mga errors po na lalabas, so i-correct na po namin, call it debugging po naman.
Tama yun. Sa monitoring, pagka nakita mo yung error, you change yung kasi nakita mo error eh.
Opo.
Tapos you reconsider another procedure, in other words.
Yes, sir.
Okay, your halimbawa, failure yung purchasing. You change it. Don't change it with a better procedure.
Yes.
All right, what are the other 2 possibilities that can happen during monitoring? Ray, are you able to think about it now?
Yes, sir. One of the, maybe we have to apply yung tinatawag na periodical tracking, sir. You're going to track all the possibilities.
Yeah, tracking is also monitoring. Another term for monitoring is tracking. You track all the steps that have been done. So that's monitoring. Now, what are the possible things that can happen while you are implementing and you are monitoring? One thing that can happen is yung nasabi ni Jesse, the procedure is a failure. So you change the procedure. That's a management decision that will be done. Ano pa yung dalawa na possibilities? Ariel, can we hear from you?
Sir, maybe
Kasi yun
insufficiency of
nga,
funds.
insufficiency, paano yun? Anong decision mo doon? Are you going to proceed kung hindi sufficient?
Revisit your planning stage again para at least makita mo kung saan ka nagkulang in terms of financing.
So, therefore, what is the management decision? Actually, yung doon pa lang sa planning sana nakita na yan kung kulang yung budget.
Yes, sir.
Pero dahil sa nakita doon sa implementation, anong management decision?
Sir, maybe I can't. Hindi ako makapag-isip, sir.
Okay, can we hear from you, sir?
Yes, sir. Sir, pwede siguro nating ipasok dyan yung pressures and threats while we are in the implementation of the project or programs.
Yung pressure and threats are in the situational analysis before the planning pa yun, Salvador. Ay, malayo na tayo, nasa implementation na tayo, nakapag-plan na tayo. We are already in the implementation stage and we are monitoring. We are talking about the possibilities. And Vera, can we hear from you?
Sir, if we are talking about yung insufficient of funds during sa monitoring, siguro we can do supplementary budgeting in order to.
In other words, the decision is what?
Make a supplementary budget for the accomplishment of the program.
Okay.
Or maybe,
yes, Ray?
Or maybe we could develop some alternatives.
Yun nga, maghanap ka ng alternative talaga. That is a generic term, look for alternative solutions. In other words, the solution actually is the supplementary budget. Kasi nakahanap ka na ng kustos doon, nagkulang. So supplementary budget is the solution. The management decision is to look for alternatives. Kasi kinulang eh. Ano pa yung mga possibilities na mangyari? Si Ami, I have not heard from you, Ami, for a long time already. Ami.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And next will be Janice. So what are other possibilities that can happen during monitoring? Implementation na yan, ha? We are monitoring the implementation.
Change in decision, sir. Yun na rin yung change the procedure.
What?
Yung mga scenarios, sir, maybe reanalyze to see kung may better approach.
Yun nga, yung failure na possibility, nag-change na ng alternative. Ganon din doon sa kulang, naghanap ng alternative. So, nag-supplementary budget. Ano pa yung dalawang possibility?
making actual changes.
Come again, Melissa?
But making actual changes, sir. Kung ano yung dapat na palitan. Actual changes po yun.
You find alternatives so you can change. Find an alternative and change. Kasi failure eh. Kinulang. Inadequate. Tapos yung isa failure. So, find an alternative and change whatever is there na nag-fail. Sino pa ang hindi natin narinig pa? Hazel, can we hear from you this time?
No, sir. Ano, sir? During implementation.
Yes.
Siguro, sir, kung merong priorities pa na pwedeng ang tawag dito, makita during the implementation instead of problem. So, meron tayo.
Merong priority pala na mas priority dun, di mag-change ka. Di ba? Look for alternatives and then change. Di isa pa lang yung situation na nakita natin. Mayroon pang dalawa na possibility.
Sir, the availability of personnel, sir. For example, wala yung school head during the monitoring or evaluation. Kasi siguro, sir, may pinuntahan or may emergency. So, the decision making that we can make is to assign an OIC, sir, or another person na pwedeng mag-handle doon sa ano.
Wala yun doon sa process na ginagawa. Yung implementation, wala yun. Outside the implementation yun. Kasi yung principal na dapat nandoon, dapat mayroon siyang substitute. O mayroon siyang naka-assign na you can, the delegation yan ang tawag. Pero hindi yun ang pinag-uusapan natin. Pinag-uusapan natin is doon mismo sa implementation, nag-monitor ka ng implementation, tapos yung isa, failure. May kulang. May mas priority pala kaysa yun. So, nag-change ka ng decision. Change. Look for alternative and change. Yun ang decision ng management decision. Alright, Jeneline, can we hear from you? Jeneline Gambua.
No, sir.
Then Jonathan, you'll be next.
Tracking risk, sir.
Yeah.
Managing risk.
Oh, well, it's a part of the general management. But we are already in the implementation. We are in the implementation. Okay, Jonathan, we hear from you. After Jonathan, Janice. Something, Hazel?
Sir. Napindot ko po.
Okay, can we hear from ano ba? Sino pa ang hindi pa nag-kuhan? Si Ami. Nasaan na si Ami? Ami.
Yes, sir. Tapos,
Ayaw pa pala. Ano yun na naisip mo na?
hindi pa, sir.
Okay. Tingnan natin si Noraima. Noraima, can you think of possible things that can happen?
Hello, sir. Hello po.
Yes, Lorema.
Sir, if there is a failure during the implementation, then I think lang po, sir, there can also be success during the implementation.
This means is meeting the objective as it is planned, and there is a huge involvement of all concerned like stakeholders and everything.
Paano mangyayari yung success mayroong failure?
Ay, okay, sir. Akala ko lang.
Within the implementation, may parte na failure. So sabi natin, na may failure, you look for alternative and change. Yun ang management decision.
Okay, sir.
But anyway, thank you for your thoughts.
Yes, sir.
We go to Jonathan. Yes.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Ang hirap mag-isip. So far po, sir, yun lang din naman po. Parang pressures, failures. Along the kapag nag-implement.
Di ba, very common process naman yun, mag-implement kayo tapos i-monitor niyo yung...
Opo, sir.
Okay. Ano yung experience niyo na pwede? At what is the management decision that can be made?
We will go back to planning po again, sir.
Kung failure yun. Kung failure yun.
Opo.
Ibig sabihin, you look for the alternative and change. Balik ka sa planning. Okay, so ano pa ang pwedeng mangyari? Okay, Janice. We hear from you. Yes.
Hello, sir. Sir, kasi yung nasa isip ko, sir, mag-fall din po, sir, sa alternative po kasi yung there is a ang tawag doon, yung kulang po yung budget. We're going to tap different or support from the stakeholders or from the LGUs to pursue those projects. Pupunta po sa alternative po kasi nasa isip ko.
Nasabi na ni Noraima yun.
Yeah.
In another word. Okay, listen up, everybody. Yung iba nakatulog yata. Everybody, listen up. Another possibility na mangyari while you are monitoring is hindi failure pero medyo mabagal. Diba? May konting diferensya.
Behind the schedule.
There is a defect in the process. Anong mangyari? What is your management decision kung mayroon kang hindi naman total failure pero mayroon kang nakitang hindi maganda sa process. So what will be your management decision?
Sir, identify again. Sir, identify.
Identify mo na nga. Na-identify mo na hindi maganda yung process.
Revise the strategy.
Yes, modify the strategy, modify the process. Ngayon, yung pinaka-common ngayon, yung possibility na common. Everything is going on smoothly. What will you do? What is the management decision? Meron pa rin decision dyan, di ba? Everything is going on smoothly. On schedule, lahat. All processes are going on smoothly.
Continue, sir.
Plan for the change, sir.
What is the management decision?
Plan for the change. Para
Sir, continue the strategy if it is good. And you are on time.
Continue. Bilisan nyo. Continue. Di ba?
Yes po.
Going on smoothly, continue the process. The management decision. When something is failing, it's a failure. Failure talaga. It is a defect talaga. Cannot be. In other words, you look for alternatives and change. in the process, merong it is not working very well, what you do is modify it. The decision is modify it and continue. Now, the decisions are continue, look for alternatives and modify the process. And then when it is a total failure, it doesn't really work, you look for alternatives and change it. Tatlo yun. They remember those three. Comprehensive. Para naman akong propeta, no? But anyway, if in case na lalabas yan sa comprehensive, kasi common management decision, but sometimes nakakaligtaan natin, nalilimutan natin because it is a common thing that can happen. Nangyari yun, kakapaka, ano yung gagawin ko? Failure, you look for alternatives and change. But a part of the system is not working very well, you look for a better alternative and change, modify. Going on smoothly, you continue. Diba? Any comment? Anything else to clarify? Okay, so wala na kayong other comment. We leave that for a while. We can come back to it again when you have other things that you can think of. To principles of fundraising. Of fundraising. Okay? It's an exciting topic. Kasi not even if your school has a very big budget, a time when your budget will be at supis. It's not enough for the whole program for the whole year. Mayroong kulang, di ba? So you need fundraising. Or here are the basic principles. General principles. Number one, never ask a stranger for money. Huwag kayong manghingi sa hindi nyo kilala. Nakakaya yun. It's very embarrassing. Well, pwedeng magbigay, pwedeng hindi. But it is embarrassing for you and embarrassing for the donor. Donate siya ng certain amount. It is very embarrassing for you and it is embarrassing for him. So never ask a stranger for money. Number two, cultivate friendship before asking. Cultivate relationship. A close relationship before asking. Kilala mo na. Alam mo na yung kiliti niya. Alam na rin niya ang kiliti mo. Even to that extent, Ibig sabihin, magkaibigan na kayo. Pwedeng hindi naman ganong kalala yung, hindi naman to that level na talagang kilala ka. But the thing is, talagang kilala mo yung tao. Or her in general. Ganon din sa kanya. She or he knows you. Right? Number three, think of the needs of the donor. Nagpa-fundraising ka pero you're thinking about the needs of the donor. Okay? You also think about the needs of the donor. Yung need ng donor mo kailangan niyang magpasikat. Ready, Okay. Di ba? At bigyan mo siya ng malaking plaki din. Di ba? At bigyan mo siya ng program na ito, donor natin, napakalaki ang kanyang donation. Sana dagdagan pa niya. Kasi alam mo na you think of the need of the donor. All right, we will talk about other needs of the donor later on. Then number 4, ask for support for what you need. Saka lang mag-ask ng support or what you need on the fourth step. Kanina, think of the needs of the donor. Mauuna yung need ng donor. Then number 4, ask for support for what you need. Number 5, personalize your solicitation. Your solicitation. I would like you to explain that later. Personalize your solicitation. Number 6, raise money from the inside out. Raise money from the inside out. We'll explain that later. Number 7, raise money from the top down. All right, I will read everything. Never ask a stranger for money. Number 2, cultivate friendship before asking, or cultivate relationship or friendship. Think of the needs of the donor. Number 4, ask for support for what you need. Number 5, personalize your solicitation. Raise money from inside out. And then number 7, raise money from top down. Okay? Can you explain personalize your solicitation?
Hello, sir. Good afternoon po.
Yes, Olive.
Sir, ano po, yung taong mismong pagbibigyan nyo, yun yung ilalagay nyo sa letter po. For example, magsusolicit po kami sa inyo, ilalagay po namin yung pangalan nyo dun sa i-address po namin mismo sa inyo yung letter po. Parang ganun po.
That's one. Another? Yung iba kasi, magsusolicit sila, mayroon silang letter, hindi man lang, may blank yung addressee, pero hindi man lang sumulat.
Yes,
Dapat
sir.
sulat.
Kailangan, kilalanin sir muna yung taong susulitin.
Ayun nga, develop friendship muna before asking.
Yes, sir. Because sometimes, yung sinusulitan natin is very similar sa names, ganon. Or, we should have sa situation.
Okay. Number 1 na nakakainis talaga, and it is something that you should avoid, is the spelling of the names. Alright? Halimbawa, yung pangalan ko, Maimban. Magiging Maimban o kaya Miemban. Mali. It should be Maimban. Okay. Mauna yung E bago yung I. Okay? Halimbawa, si Dr. Lilia, kung minsan nagiging Laila. Yung spelling kasi marami kang experience dito sa soliciting. Ano?
Sad to say, sir, hindi kami nag-solicit.
Ganun ba?
Kung meron po kaming expenses sa school, ina-allocate po sa mga student.
If you are distributing it to the students. That's one way of soliciting. But even then, when you are soliciting from the students, you should let your parents know.
Yes, sir.
That is personalized thing that personalize the solicitation. Yes, Jesse, you have something to say?
So I think po the insider employees will be the one to solicit from outsiders, for example, mga LGUs, officials, po, and businessmen, ganun po. Sila pa yung in charge for the solicitation.
Yeah, that is true, but that is not the meaning of that. Raise money from inside out means another thing.
Sir.
Yes, Noraima?
Sir, ang pagkakaintindi ko po dito, sir, sa raise money from the inside out, meaning when you're going to raise money, it must start from within the organization. So, the raising of money starts from the group itself, from kung ano yung ano nyo. Then, before you can reach out from others outside outside in your organization, something like that, para may pagsisimulan sila at may makita ng others before they give something na may na-start na sa inyong organization, something like that.
That's right. After planning the solicitation or the fundraising program, you should, after setting the goal for the solicitation, you should start from yourselves. Para mayroon kayong masabi, mayroon na kaming ganitong amount, ma'am, pero kailangan ng sir, kailangan namin ng tulong kasi kulang yung aming pera. Mas maganda yon kaysa yung manghihingi kayo, wala naman kayong di naman kayo nagko-contribute, bakit ka manghihingi? O kaya sasabihin sa inyo, magkano naman nga yung contribution ninyo? Nanghihingi kayo, magkano ang contribution ninyo? Sabi niya, di nakakaya. Diba? So it has to start from inside. Sa family, meron akong experience na maganda nito. Meron akong one of our sons nung bago pa ng mga cellphones. So, ang ginawa niya, nag-ipon muna. Nung meron na siyang naipon na 1,000, sabi niya, meron akong 1,000. Dagdagan nga ninyo para makabili ako ng cellphone. Diba na very, very nice feeling of the parents na pinaglaanan niya, pinag-ipunan niya yung project niya na yun bago siya manghingi. Diba? Alin ang mas maganda? Yung ganon, meron akong naipon na 1,000. Pakidagdag nga para makabili ako ng cellphone. O, hingi nga para sa cellphone. Wala pa akong cellphone. Gusto ko yung pinakamaganda, latest model.
May demand.
Pangit yun.
Yes po, tama.
So, tama sir, tama po yun.
Tama po.
So, mas maganda yung meron na kayong solicitation mismo dun sa inside mo na bago kayo lalabas. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Copy po.
Alright. Now, we go to the next. Raise money from the top down.
Sir, the leader of the organization has to be the first to initiate the contribution or the start of the fundraising. If, for example, this is my
Yes, kung naplano na, na alam na ninyo yung kung how much you will be raising and what will you do to do what are the activities of the fundraising. Yung leader mismo, ito na yung aking contribution, 1,000. Oh. Ako na mauna, kayo naman. Di ba? Mas maganda. Tapos doon naman sa other agency, huwag kayong pumunta doon sa mga employees. Puntahan muna ninyo yung head ng office bago kayo pupunta doon sa mga employees. That is raise money from the top down. And yung leader ninyo, kung kayong principal, kayong mangunguna. Bubunot ng 1,000 o 5,000. O, ito na aking ito na yung sa aking share o 5,000. Kayo naman. Di mas madaling mag-contribute yung iba kasi meron ka na. Para hindi nyo sasabihin na kukunin ko na kukunin ko ulit. Kunin mo na, treasurer, ilista mo na. Sigurista.
Sir, pero paano po yung sa case po namin, sir, nagbaba po for example yung dean. Sabi niya, tapatan ba pare-par equally po? Is it possible po ba na hindi namin tanggapin yung sinabi po niya na equally? For example, 500 pesos, 500 po lahat. Gusto niya tapatan po.
Yun ang agreement ninyo, yun, pero yung leader, mauna, maski pare.
Yes, sir. Yes po.
Pero most cases, kasi siya naman ang pinakamalaki ng sweldo, usually yung head of the office, mas malaki yung sa kanya.
Yes, sir. Pero in our case, sir, medyo kuripot po yung boss namin.
Yun ang ingatan ninyo yun kung kayo ang boss.
Opo.
Halimbawa, okay, we will contribute 500 pesos each. Okay?
Opo.
Yun ang agreement. Kung bubunot ka ng 1,000 o mahigit pa.
Okay, sige po.
Di ba? Mas maganda. Ito sa akin, ang share ko, dagdagan ko pa. Mas magaan yung kalooban ng mga kasama mo kung ikaw ang head na magbibigay dahil ikaw mismo nagbigay ka na ng That means that you really believe in the project. Mo talaga. Kumbaga, atat ka na mangyari yung plinano ninyo. Kung mangyari kung 500 ang contribution. Ikaw ang head, ikaw ang principal, ikaw ang utang muna sa akin ha. Ganon din ako, utang din. Salary deduction.
Sila pa sir yung huling magbibigay ng kanilang contribution.
May ganun sir, may ganun.
Ganun po sa amin.
May mga ganun na pangyayari.
Sir, if I may share.
Kayo ang boss, huwag mo gagawin yun. Kayong mangunguna. Para magaan lang yung kalooban ng mga kasama. Maski medyo mabigat, magaan lang kasi inunahan mo na sila eh. Di ba? Alright. So, raise money from inside out. Raise money from top down. Alright, remember those. Your solicitation. Dapat kayo mismo pupunta. Wag ninyong utusan yung janitor. Ikaw ang principal, mag-assign ka ng committee na magsosolicate. Don't do it. As much as possible, the principal, the head of the agency, the head of the department, the head of the college, the head of the school should go with the soliciting committee. Kasi hindi naman pwede na lahat kayo pupunta. Meron kang kasama, mayroong soliciting committee, pero nandudong ka. Alright, ito naman. Strategies for fundraising. Iba yung basic principles, ano? Ito naman, strategies. 10 strategies for fundraising. Number 1, practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Kung mayroon kayo na-solicit, acknowledge it kagad-agad. Mayroon kayong thank you letter or whatever. Diba? O kaya kung malaki-laki yung yung binigay niya, pero pwede kayong magpadala ng merienda. Special naman yung merienda. Of course, yung gawan ninyo, hindi yung binili lang doon. As a sort of a gratitude to the donor, magbigay naman kayo ng gawan ninyo. Maski konti lang. Maski kung ano man lang yung produkto ninyo, basta gawa sa inyo. Alright, next is keep in touch. Keep in touch. Nakapagbigay na, you still keep in touch with the donor. Manang, nakapag-solicit na tayo ng medyo kalahati na, 500,000 na yung na-solicit na natin. After you have donated, meron ng 500,000 tayo. Baka gusto pa ninyong dagdagan. Keep in touch, okay? Number 3, you start at the top. Ito pa rin, start at the top. Alright, na-explain na natin yan. Kung kayo ang soliciting college or soliciting agency, the boss will go first, will start first. Alright, number 4. Parte pala ng number 2, yung keep in touch is educating your donor. You educate the donor. Ito na yung ating level. Naka 500,000 na tayo. Nag-canvas na yung mga kasama natin kung ano yung bibilin natin. Di ba? Halimbawa, yung project ninyo printing machine, halimbawa. Printer. Nakapag-canvas na kayo. You also educate your donor. Yung na-canvas natin na sabihin nyo natin, kasama siya. Na-canvas natin na printer, ganitong brand, ganito ang capability. So you are educating that. Keep in touch and you are educating your donor. And then, start at the top. Number 4, focus on recurring giving. Focus on recurring giving. Yun sinasabi ko. Nakasolicit na tayo ng 500,000. Baka gusto pa ninyong magdagdag para mabilis. Para makabili na tayo kagad-agad. Diba? You are always in touch. Tapos, you can always say that kasi you are a friend to the donor. Next, check the expiration date. Ibig sabihin yung scheduled date ng katapusan ng end ng schedule ninyo mag-solicit. Check. Halimbawa, your end of termination of your solicitation is May 15. You keep in touch with your donors. Manang. O sir, madam, nakapag-solicit na tayo ng 500,000. Meron pa tayong i-raise na 2 million pa. Ang date natin para makuha natin yan, ng schedule date natin para mabili natin yung equipment is May 15. So you are checking this expiration date and inform the donor as well. Alright, identify plan B, plan C, plan D. Kung halimbawa, hindi siya nakapagbigay, ano yung plan B ninyo? Ang plan C ninyo? Ang plan D ninyo? Halimbawa, sabi niya, wala akong cash. Pwede ba Gcash na lang, madam? O kaya cheque na lang? O kaya babalik kami next week. Meron kayong plan B, plan C. Pagbalik namin, pwede ba na, Juan? Isama na rin natin yung anak niyo na abogado? Mga ideas yan, no? Next. Collaborate to raise money. Collaborate. Sino yon? Sino yung collaboration na yon? Yung mga solicitors. Yung committee, halimbawa. Committee, how do you collaborate with the committee? By giving information yung possible donors. Oy, mayroong dumating na balikbayan, friend. Pwede nating lapitan. Samahan ko kayo. Collaborate. Collaboration yun. O kaya, sino-sino ba yung nalapitan na ninyo? Pwede bang isama natin si superintendent? Kilala ko yung yung secretary niya. Pwede na tayong i-introduce. Alright, so collaboration to raise money. Number 8, be realistic. Be realistic. Ibig sabihin, kung yung project ninyo is kailangan na next month, dapat yung schedule ninyo for solicitation would be scheduled na pagka 1 week before you buy the item, meron na kayo. And then, hindi overpriced naman. Hindi naman siya underpriced. Pangit yung yung underpriced. Gusto niyo yung mura. Yung murang equipment, madaling masira din. Dapat yung yung quality naman ng but be realistic. Okay? Number 9, celebrate success. Kung nakuha na ninyo yung gusto ninyo, yun. Celebrate success. Siguro meron kayong program o kaya invite the donors. Invite the donors. Tapos meron kayong konting merienda. Tapos manghingi pa kayo ng ng tatat. Kuha na tayo, naka-solicit na tayo ng ganito. Pwede bang magbigay ng konti pa para meron namang pamasahe ng bibili ng equipment. Di ba? Celebrate the success but also continue pursuing yung focus on recurring giving. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, number 10. Link the donation with impact. Pag habang nagsusolicit kayo, itong printing, halimbawa, printing machine, itong printing machine natin na hindi mahirapan yung mga teachers na mag-print ng mga modules. Tapos hindi malilate yung mga bata na kukuha ng modules. So may impact yun. There's a reason while you are collecting. Hindi kayo magsusolicit ng pera na walang purpose, na walang impact. So yon, ulitin ko. Number 1, practice gratitude. Number 2, keep in touch. Educate the donor. Start at the top. Number 4, focus on recurring giving. Number 5, check the expiration date or the end of the solicitation period. Number 6, identify plan B, plan C, plan D. Meron kayong alternative na plano. Nakapagbigay. Diba? Halimbawa, wala siyang maibigay pero ang dami niyang mga halaman. Pwede bang i-donate na lang ninyo itong isang halaman ninyo at ipagbibili natin? Di ba? O kaya, pwede bang bibiliin ko na lang itong halaman ninyo pero hindi ko ibibigay sa inyo yung bayad, ibigay natin sa donation. Maraming ideas, di ba? So, collaborate to raise money. You work together. And then, be realistic. Number 9, celebrate success. And then, number 10, link the donation to impact. Always link it to the impact. Kung ano mang gagawa, yung bibilhin ninyo o yung gagawin ninyo. Alright, any question? Any comment? Yeah. Any comment? Alright, wala na. We go to another subtopic. How to write a successful fundraising plan. Siyempre, huwag kayong mag-solicit kung wala kayong plano. Okay, number 1. Assemble the troop. Kung sino-sino yung involved. Organize. Number 2. Set your fundraising goals. Meron ng goal. Number 3. Align with your mission. Ibig sabihin, ano yung paggagamitan ng sinusolicit ninyo? Gusto niyo magdagdag ng machineries, magdagdag ng facility, magdagdag ng reading materials. Align it with your overall goal para mapadali yung distribution ng modules. Kailangan ng ganito. I-align niyo. Alright, number 4. Detail your method. Include your strategies. I-detalye. Ano ba yung gusto niyong detalye ng fundraising? Is it face-to-face? Asking? Use telephone calls? Or sa mail letters? Or you want to have a crowd? Mag-meeting ka muna, magpa-concert ka. Crowd yon, pero ngayon medyo mahirap yon. Ang siguro, maski yung face-to-face, pwede lang on a limited basis. Pwede yon. You go to the donor, possible donor, face-to-face. Pero medyo limited yon. Pero ang applicable ngayon is phone calls, email, PM sa messenger, or whatever. Okay? And then number 5, look at the big picture. Ano yung big picture ninyo? Ano yung big picture? Mapadali ang serbisyo, mapaganda ang serbisyo. Mapadali ang trabaho. That's the big picture. Diba? Hindi lang bumibili kayo ng instrument or machine dahil gusto ninyo. Meron kayong big picture na mapadali ang trabaho, mas mapaganda yung reporting, mas madali ang ganyan. Kung facility naman, learning facility, mas maganda yung learning environment ng mga bata. Diba? Mas maganda yung mga laboratory equipment na gagamitin ng mga bata. Which is very important. Ang pagkasabi is colloquial, bust. BUST, bust out your calendar. Colloquial yung pagkasabi din dito sa literature na ito. Bust out your calendar. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Scheduling. In other words, alam ng lahat yung schedule ninyo. Alam nila kung kailan magti-terminate yung fundraising. Alam nila kung kailan ninyo gagamitin. Alam nila, halimbawa, your solicitation is to fund a facility, a building, halimbawa. Alam nila kung kailan mag-stop yung solicitation. Alam din nila kung kailan mag-start yung project. Alam din nila yung expected schedule of the when the project is done, when the project is finished, implementation of the project. So yung bust out your calendar means schedule everything para yung tinatawag ni Noraima when we were discussing budgeting, there is always transparency. Di ba yun, Noraima? Transparency is very important. Even in the scheduling. Yes. Alam ng lahat kung ano yung nangyayari. Hindi yung, what's happening? What's up? Everybody's wondering. Nakasulisit na. Pero wala bang nangyayari. What's up? What has happened? Nadinggo yata tayo Di ba may mga ganong reaction. But when you apply transparency, everything has been scheduled and everything has been to be announced. There is transparency, and the fundraising project will be more successful. Okay, any comment? All right. Your output, learning output this time, what you will be doing during the week. You plan a project worth 10 million. 10 million pesos worth of project. Siguro building yan or whatever. You know? Pero you make sure na dun sa situational analysis, mayroon talagang paggagamitan yung 10 million na yan. Okay? Include the situational analysis, the planning, the goal, the activities, the source, yung possible donors, the activities to be done, and the schedules of the fundraising. Okay? Okay ba yan sa inyo?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Inong people.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Ay, tutong ka.
Pwede po sana pa ulit-ulit yung may include.
Ang assignment ninyo is to plan a project worth 10 million. Pero dapat mayroon siyang tamang basis. Mayroon siyang naka-align dun sa needs assessment ninyo. Mayroong needs assessment, mayroong planning process, there should be a goal, overall goal, tapos sources of the funding, in other words, yung mga donors, activity, funding activity, and your schedules. Okay, let's see what you can do with that. All right, you do your work. That would be on or before next Sunday. I-upload ninyo doon sa Google Drive ninyo, and then make sure that you have given me your link already, so I can see what you have done. Okay? Are there any questions, comments, clarifications?
10 million po. 10 million lang. 10 million po.
10 million pesos worth.
Pesos.
10 million pesos worth of project. Ano man yun? Pero dapat may basis siya dun sa needs assessment. May needs assessment, mayroong overall goal, mayroong mga possible donors, magkano yung share ninyo kasi from inside out, tapos yung schedule of the solicitation itself, and then schedule ng mga activities, and also you mentioned also the link of the project to the impact. Ano ang magandang mangyayari pagka natapos na itong project na ito. Alright, kung wala nang comments, may we ask Jesse again to take our screenshot?
Yes, sir.
Everybody come out of the screen para makita natin lahat. Please open your cameras so that we can see your faces.
Okay po, ready po.
Okay.
In 3, 2, and 1. Okay po.
Ulitin mo, Jesse.
Yes po, yes po.
Okay.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Yes, sir, marami na po. Kanina pa po ako nag-screenshot. Okay na
Ganun.
po, sir. Yes po.
Alright,
Okay na po.
please post it in our group chat. Para.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's call it a good quality day. Goodbye, everyone. Keep yourself safe always.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
We continue to pray for one another. We continue to
Bye,
pray for
sir.
Bye, sir.
this pandemic will soon end. Okay?
Okay po.
So, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye po.
Everyone,
God bless
God
po.
bless
Stay po.
everyone.
Bye po.
Bye po, sir.